But the whole thing for me, as soon as I step out on stage, is a bit dreamy, to tell you the truth. It's a bit, you know, I catch myself hyperventilating for no reason at all when I'm up there, and it must be because I'm just lost and extremely excited. And I never knew that until people would ask me, like, sound like you were out of breath. And I think, really? What was that? I was just standing there, wasn't I? So it must be, I must be extremely like in overdrive. The process of bringing that emotion out and becoming vulnerable in front of a few thousand people and putting it on the guitar is a cathartic experience. When I can switch into that present state of mind, I am thinking about stuff that the audience sees. They see me standing there with a guitar. I'm plugged into gear. I'm with a band. I'm interacting. I'm thinking, you know, part of me is thinking this is the right thing to play, but it's a small percentage because what I thrive on is getting lost in the music, and that's really difficult to describe. What I can say is that when I come back out of that state, I feel lost for a few seconds. I'm not quite sure what the next song is. I'm sort of recovering from a cathartic event. And then I go, oh, that's right, you're just on stage, you're playing. What's the next song? Do I have to step on a pedal? Do I have to change the guitar? For instance, just last night, I finished the song and I'm finally coming sort of back to reality. And I hear somebody yelling at me, and I realize that's Mike. He's yelling at me. Why is he yelling at me? Oh, I've got to change my guitar for this next song. And, you know, from his perspective, he thinks, where is Joe? Like, where's his brain? He knows he has to change for the next song. But I'm not there when I'm playing. I'm somewhere else. I'm in the middle of the meaning of the song and then how I want to express it that night. Everybody wants to get in the zone of the space, whatever it is. It's a shared thing too, you know. I mean, when you're doing a live performance, you are in an organism that you've created for that moment with the other guys in the band. And with the audience, really, you're receiving energy and feeling, and you're giving it out, and there's an ebb and a flow with the guys that you're playing with, and you're also hopefully experimenting and doing something different that's new from the last performance. And that is, I guess, theoretically, is the zone, it's the space, it's that magical place that you want to get to where you're just completely in the moment of the song. And that happens at home too. I think when I'm writing, that's where I want to be. I want to be in that little movie in my head that's all about this, the meaning of this song I'm writing. So there's a kind of a thing where you push the outside world away, and then you sort of expand that inner space, I think. For me, that's the way I think about it. I often don't write on tour because I'm too receptive to all this activity that's going on. It's so exciting. I just kind of want to be part of all of it. But to write, I have to kind of internalize what I've been experiencing, and I have to sort of think about it, take it apart and rebuild it, and develop opinions about it before I can turn it into, I think, a piece of music to represent that emotion. And I generally find that, you know, I may write a piece here and there as I'm traveling around, but it's usually when I'm at home and I have that one job, which is to come up with an album's worth of songs, that I feel like it's the best place to be. The biggest limitation in writing music is your heart and your mind and the state of your being at the moment. It's the hardest thing. It still is. Every record I do, I'm always thinking, would at any time something pops in your head that starts with "you can't do that," or "you can't do that with a guitar," or "that'll never work with those chords," or something, that's the thing that that's the fence I have to kick down immediately. It's the wall that I can't build. It has to get knocked down right away, and I actually should go in that direction. your brain comes up with excuses that eventually will lead you to the couch with a beer and a bag of potato chips if you let it. Your body just wants to not do anything. If given the choice, we will have a good time over actually working hard to achieve something. It's a sad state of being a human being. So you just have to work on that part of you that says, no, I don't want to sit on the couch and do nothing. I want to get up and do something. And even if it's a complete burnout, failure, and everybody sees me fail, I'm going to do it anyway. So that's what I try to embrace. I think I've only had one occasion where I woke up dreaming a song and it was exactly the way that I recorded it. Yeah, it was a song, and I called it Dream Song because of that. Funny thing about dreams is you're not quite sure when you're dreaming it, but you only remember it when you wake up, right? But it could have been hours before, deep in sleep. It could have happened in a millisecond, right before you woke up. The brain works in funny ways, right? But I just remember waking up thinking I'd been playing this song on the organ, and I saw the whole song laid out, and I just got up and went right into my studio and I recorded the song. And pretty much how it is on that record, that's the way it is. But that's only happened once. I mean, I've had other riddles of arrangements solved where I got up, I went to bed thinking, how am I going to fix this part? And then I woke up knowing exactly how I was going to do it. It is interesting that sometimes it seems like under adverse conditions, some other thing happens that maybe isn't something that can be recognized by the performer, but to the manager or the lighting person or something like that, they see it as a unique thing where the artist may walk off the stage and say, that was a struggle. I never achieved that space I was looking for. It was so hard to deal with this technical problem or whatever. And then the manager says, my God, that was the best thing I've ever seen you do. It's proof, that the artist really should not ever be involved in evaluating what they should have done, what they could have done, or what they would have done, or what do people think about what I'm doing right now. They should just never think that way. They just have to be artistic, and then when they're done, they have to just walk away from it and let other people decide what happened. And then they just go on and keep doing what they're doing. It doesn't really make sense in the real world, but that's really the only sane way to do it, because there's no sanity in art. So to try to bring sanity to art doesn't make any sense. I mean, the thing that I think is important for musicians to remember is that the audience doesn't come to see those little micro movements that we obsess about. Because in our brain, we're thinking the only acceptable outcome is 100% success. Anything less than that, and it totally freaks us out. The audience has they're experiencing the whole band, the event, the place they're in, the people they're sitting next to, what happened in the weeks, in the hours leading up to getting there at the show, and what they're going to do after the show. I mean, that's life. Real life is out there in the audience. And we're up here going, oh, damn, I could have done that, and it could have been just a little nicer. And we go from bit to bit sometimes if we let it bother us. And the audience is looking at us, but they're not actually looking at that little thing. They're just going, oh, cool. You could have done it 100 different ways. It still would have been cool, because I'm here with my friends. It's a good night, and later on we're going to do this other thing, and it's going to be even better. Tonight I'm going to be able to go out and work on Surfing with the Alien again. After 30 years, I still get another crack at it to see if I can improve upon it. And so that takes away all that anxiety of, the definitive version reflecting on you. Like, we've heard that version and now we think you suck because that's the only version that will ever represent you, The world is not like that, but a musician will think that way when they've got 1 hour left in the studio and they're finishing an album. They just think, oh my God, this whole thing sucks and everyone's going to know and they'll never talk to me again. I was in a unique situation where I recorded almost 3 studio records without ever having set foot on a stage as an instrumental artist. I had no band, I had no act. And so finishing the album, Surfing with the Alien, I still was thinking that it would be the last record the label would let me record for them, and that I would just go back to teaching guitar and I wouldn't be ever playing it live. So in one way that was great because I never let the idea of the live performance change the way I recorded something. Like I never thought like, well, I shouldn't record it like this because I can never do that live. I just thought, I'm making a record. The record is the art form, so I'm not going to let anything change that. And besides, I'm nobody. I don't even have a tour. I don't have a band. So why even worry about it, right? And then a few months later, the record company calls and says, you should put a band together and go out on tour. And so suddenly there I am doing something at 30 years old that I'd never really prepared for. Very interesting. I think when I was young, it was more traumatic because I wasn't in control of my body as much. When I was 14 years old during my first performance, I was extremely nervous and I didn't understand why I couldn't play as well as when I was at home and relaxed. And besides the obvious, just performance anxiety or having your friends, your peers look at you. Besides all that, I realized, well, this is a physical thing because musicians practice for the performance. So if they can't control that, if they can't marshal all that they've practiced to give to the audience, then there's a big problem there, right? Something's not working out. So as you learn how to become professional, it's learning how to control and channel adrenaline, the excitement, whatever you want to call it, and to push out all the bad vibes, because it's, it's life. Everyone's experiencing all these things that seem to detract from what it is that you want to accomplish at any given moment, right? Certainly, a young musician, you don't really hear what you sound like. You hear what you imagine you want to become. That gets you over the really horrible bits of being a beginner. It's a beautiful deafness, blindness, whatever, temporary. And then there are moments where you question it, because as you get older, if you start, like I did as a young teenager at 14, each year is a huge year in mental development and emotional development. And so slowly you begin to join the rest of the world and you go like, oh, maybe I'm not that good. Those thoughts start to creep in, but you have to kind of believe in your dream, I think, and you need to, read stories and talk to other professionals that will assuage your fears and give you confidence that being yourself is really the key. And that's what the audience wants. They want to see and hear and know a new person's story, an original story. They don't want to hear a professional version of something they already know. So that's a big plus for anybody, because you're born with that gift. You are an original person. You are unique. So all you have to do is represent that in what you do. And so you got it made, but you still have to practice. Really hard. I can always sort of slip back into a real complete mental and emotional memory of watching my parents enjoy music, jazz music, having parties, dancing, watching my sisters and their boyfriends go crazy for the Stones or the Dave Clark Five or the Beatles or something, or my brother playing harmonica over John Lee Hooker records or something, you know, and they get a thrill out of bringing like Hendrix and Who records over and playing them for me and see, like an experiment. Let's see what it does to the little kid when he listens to Electric Ladyland, you know. And so I remember those as great moments because I experienced them as a fan, I guess, you know what I mean? As a normal person, not a guitar player. And I always think, well, that's what you want to create in your audience. You have to give them something special. It can't be cookie cutter stuff, you know. And I think on the negative side, you remember when somebody leveled comments at you and you knew from the beginning that they were wrong and that you were never going to let it bother you or let people like them bother you or let comments like that bother you because they come from the same place, which is a bad place. Serves no purpose, not going to help you at all, right? And yeah, for every good road ahead of you, there's a bad one right next to it. So again, it goes back to what I said earlier about putting your story into the music. That's what it's all about. It's like the greatest gift of all is your unique story. Just pour it right onto these strings, and it'll all be great. You don't have anything to worry about.